Hey guys, so this is interesting. Maybe this is why I was inclined to post the prior video that I didn't want to post because I just really wasn't a fan of it about Betsy DeVos and interference going on, her connections. It just went back and forth too much. Well, here we go. I didn't get to do the New York Attorney General yet. So this is the Taroscope. And I lay them all out, and I'm getting over here to the public servant, Nine of Pentacles. I'm like, New York Attorney General is dealing with a public servant who's very comfortable with the Ten of Wands and a lot of burdens. And then I go to the 7th house of partnership, and I'm like, Four of Cups. I'm like, wait a minute, that was Betsy DeVos's signifier in the last reading. I couldn't understand why she would have the Four of Cups here as her signifier because she's never had that before. So then I'm like, back up. And I look here, 5th house of the Sun. There's a Page of Swords for the New York Attorney General. Looks like an informant to me, or a spy, but I couldn't see Betsy DeVos being a spy. So, oh, and when I did her check-in, how funny is this? Because I'm like, who's the Page of Swords spy? I did her. This area that has to do with one's identity and who they are, she got no Page of Swords. As if the tarot knew I needed to know this information later on. So it's not her. She's not the informant. So I'm like, who is this Page of Swords? So I'm going through all of my things. And ultimately, I decide, I think that this is Esper. That dirty dog Esper. Because he came up with, well, now I can't find it. He came up with some things that all pointed this direction with the 7 of Wands. And then when I asked my app, my tarot app, is the Page of Swords Esper, I got the one card answer, the Wheel of Fortune, yes. So the clarifiers for him then, if this is Esper, we're going to hang on and see because I find this quite interesting. We have the Sun, the Revelation, Donald, something from the past, the Knight of Swords, intelligence. This also showed up with like one of the tech companies. I don't know if it's Palantir or Google. Someone like that. So I think this might be Esper. The New York Attorney General in the area of communications has the Trump dynasty on communications, and they got news overseas about income and money. So they have a plan going forward, the New York Attorney General, regarding something with the 6 Wands mob again, and they're crowned by having to make a decision. Ooh, I just saw this. FinCEN, Financial Crimes Unit with the Treasury, also had the 2 of Swords as their identifier, who they are. The New York Attorney General so far has been lining up with the Treasury, but look at this. Who, on the ascendant, the thing giving them life is the Lovers. 7 of Swords, what's stolen. But look at this, the Lovers. And then when they get into communications with the 10 of Pentacles and the Trump dynasty, Canada also had the 10 of Pentacles. When I put the Lovers and 10 of Pentacles together, because I'm like, why is this showing up? The person who has that as their ascendant, the thing that's giving them life this week, is this name, him in blue. See that in blue? Right beneath the North Node? Yeah, that's Putin's boss. He's got that Lovers, 10 Pentacles as the ascendant. So this is bigly. We had Five Eyes line up with Dr. Bright's testimony. You guys, something is going on with China. There have been 62 nations that have signed on with Australia wanting an independent inquiry about the origin of the coronavirus in China. Nobody will test. The thing that's happening here, if you go ahead and read the papers in the UK, they're having the same problems about testing. Nobody will do it. Everybody keeps dropping the ball. They have the same stories about PPE, not enough PPE. There's a civil suit filed today against an Austrian ski company in the Alps because they did not forewarn anyone about the dangers of coronavirus, and that's where people took the virus into their towns, like in Italy, and then Americans who came back after vacation. There's something really big going down. And yesterday, as far as testing goes, the Bill Gates Foundation was denied through the FDA their permit to do fast coronavirus testing through SCAN. I don't recall the acronym, but it came out of the blue yesterday and Saturday. They lost that. At the same time, another company was given approval for testing. It's like Everywell. And that happened on the same day, which is very suspicious. Same testing problems, same PPE problems. In fact, if you go back even to like the 2010s, remember when Obama was elected and we were in the recession and the Republicans would not approve his budget? They said, we have to be so fiscally conservative. It's times for austere measures, and they would not let him spend any money. Well, the same thing happened over in the UK, in Britain. Well, at the same time, you know, the Tea Party, Republican Party, those Tea Partiers, part of that budget, they would not let Obama replenish or budget money for the national PPE stockpile. The same thing happened in the UK. I don't know if they're not the Tea Party, but the same far right around 2010, 2012 would not let them budget money to restock the PPE pile. So there's all these parallels with the same countries having the same problems at the same time, given the same excuses. They've often said that Russia and China have a long-range goal plan when it comes to dealing with their adversaries. So it seems like they've been working on this for 10, 20 years, getting everything right into place. And here they're fighting testing. China imposed some ridiculous like 80% tariff on Australia. For something I can't remember. No, maybe it was a 40%. 40% sounds too low. 80% sounds very high, but that sounds closer to what I remember it being. But anyway, let me look into this with Esper. Excuse me. Okay, so I asked the New York Attorney General about Mark Esper. Do you have an agreement with him? What's going on? And the first card I pulled out was my no card. So I stopped there. So then I was like, what? So then I said, New York Attorney General, what do you have on Betsy DeVos? This is good because it lines up totally with that earlier reading I did that I didn't like. So they have her on voter suppression, the Trump campaign. This could be even worse. I mean, I'm just sticking with voter suppression and election stuff because that's what's been going on. But we know she's been doing a lot worse things when it comes to people seeking refuge, like at the border. We're not going to go there. I'm just going to stick with elections. She has a 10 of Wands card. The burdens. Remember the last reading, she had Donald's election burdens with her. The New York Attorney General says her challenge right now is from the past, the Mueller report and tax returns. Because yes, she is covered in this Ace of Swords, the op that Russia carries out against the electorate, whether it's psyops or propaganda or through the NRA with mass, these things. She's a liaison for this crap. The New York Attorney General, what's at the basis of what you have on De.Vos? The Tower moment. Betsy had this crowning her in that last reading. So they are having a moment, and in that last reading, I was relating it to election stuff. Like, all the Six Wands mobby guys were like, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? Because they couldn't totally trust Kim Jong, his sister, KY Jelly. What's crowning what they have on her, on De.Vos? All those plans that she's, put out there, and she's just waiting to hear back for the next thing that they're going to do. Because in the past, she did it with Russia, China. This is mostly China, North Korea, with data manipulation, which led to the devil, Putin, and elections, everything. How does a New York Attorney General see De.Vos? Stealing stuff. Look at this. The environment with De.Vos is the Four of Cups. This was her signifier. Remember that last one? So the environment, Four of Cups, this is not an offer being made. This is that part of the election where, like, if you're sitting in front of, like, social media, you're on your mobile, Facebook, Twitter, whatever, and they can tell the activity you're doing. They're reading your behavior through the algorithms, and the algorithms keep offering you an emotional provocation, whether it's to provoke you into despair or provoke you into outrage. But ultimately, the goal is to provoke you so much that you change your mind because you've been outraged so much, or you've been exhausted so much, or you've been made to feel so lonely and isolated that you'll change the way you vote. So the clarifiers on that have to do with the timing of the offer towards you to get you to flip quickly right before the election to change your vote. New York Attorney General, their hope with De.Vos is with the Chariot, that the next time she's transmitting information and data overseas and blending it with the existing data, that they're able to take action. They fear that the Queen of Cups, that she might turn into a different role, not one that's taking action, but rather might just passively, like, just sit on the data, just do a little bit here and there, hand off the power, and let someone else take care of this, because Donald is done. But their next steps, here's that Page of Swords again. So someone is going to get out there, take some action, be bold. And if they're running messages, I would like to think that maybe here's a message for you. You're going to jail for treason. And and you're going to have to retreat from public life. I would like to think that this Queen of Swords is the New York Attorney General saying that to her, because the spread was, what does a New York Attorney General have on Betsy DeVos? So it might be her. It might be a spy that they have that knows KY Jelly and how they do these things, that they play mind games. But we have this Three of Swords, the betrayal and the retreat in jail. So I'm more inclined to think, and I hope it's the New York Attorney General, since this is the New York Attorney General spread. The final outcome is there's going to be a lot of fighting going on about her, because she's creating a total nightmare with her situation, the courts, and the Republican Party. There's going to be a lot of fights going on about that. So considering that this Republican Party acquitted Donald, I personally can't see them taking a whole lot of action on Betsy, but to gather more information. We'll see. We are in we're in a new world right now. We've got a lot of planets retrograde, and this is when a lot of planets are retrograde like this, we're just kind of cleaning up the slop of how we got here. Straighten everything out, revisit things, get our ducks in order. Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed this video. It finally came together. Please click like, subscribe, share it. That would be awesome. Thanks. Have a great day.